It's no secret that Pablo Escobar was one of the richest and most infamous criminals in history. With an estimated net worth of over $30 billion, Escobar's spending habits are something that many people would love to learn more about. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we will be taking a look at some of the ways in which Escobar spent his billions, as well as shedding some light on how he managed to amass such a fortune in the first place. Escobar was born on December 10, 1949 in Cali, Colombia, to an upper-middle-class family. At age 16, Escobar started working in a small textile factory. 2 years later, he co-founded the narcotics trafficking organization Medellin Cartel with his older brother Roberto Escobar. The cartel became phenomenally successful and eventually controlled over 80% of the cocaine market. In 1982, Escobar was indicted for drug trafficking by the US government and was placed on the DEA's most wanted list. He escaped from prison in 1992 and went into hiding in a houseboat on the Colombian coast. He was finally captured in 1994 by the Colombian authorities, and he died during a shootout with police. Pablo Escobar amassed an estimated $30 billion during his lifetime, making him one of the wealthiest people in history. Much of Escobar's wealth came from drug trafficking and other illegal activities, but he also owned a large share of major companies in Colombia. Escobar was actually arrested and killed in 1994. Pablo Escobar, the legendary drug kingpin who was responsible for dozens of murders and billions in illicit drug profits, lived a lavish lifestyle that was funded by his lucrative drug trafficking operation. Escobar's wealth was impossible to quantify, but some estimates put his net worth at $30 billion or $60 billion when he was killed in 1994. Escobar's main source of income were from the smuggling cocaine into the United States and Europe, as well as producing and exporting other drugs. He also made money through investment in real estate and other ventures. Escobar was using his wealth to purchase luxury homes, private jets, and cars. His extravagance didn't really go unnoticed. Pablo Escobar made his billions through drug trafficking, but how did he manage to keep them growing? Escobar's money was generated through a number of different methods, including horizontal and vertical integration of the drug trade. His cartel was able to move huge quantities of cocaine and other drugs across the globe while avoiding law enforcement. They also controlled most of the supply in certain areas, which allowed them to charge high prices for their products and make enormous profits. Finally, they were able to employ a network of corruption and corrupt politicians, police officers, and businessmen around the world who helped protect their operations and funnel money into secret bank accounts. No one really knows what the life of a drug lord like Pablo Escobar was like because, unlike other criminals who are generally caught and killed by authorities, Escobar managed to stay one step ahead of the law for 29 years. He owned a fleet of expensive cars, flew in first class on multiple airlines, and had an expensive compound complete with tennis courts and a swimming pool. He also enjoyed luxury items such as pearls and gold jewelry. Escobar's vast wealth allowed him to live in relative comfort while engaging in numerous criminal activities such as smuggling cocaine into the United States, financing paramilitary groups responsible for violence in Colombia, and funding terrorist organizations like Hezbollah. As one of history's most infamous drug lords, Pablo Escobar was responsible for a staggering amount of bloodshed and millions of dollars in taxpayer money. But how did this notoriously reclusive man spend his fortune? The answer, unsurprisingly, is mostly through crime. Escobar became one of the richest men in the world by trafficking cocaine and other drugs in the United States and laundering the profits through legitimate business and properties. Forbes estimates he amassed a net worth of $10 billion. This wealth allowed him to purchase everything from luxury mansions to private jets, all while living in lavish lifestyle that shewed mainstream society. Escobar also enjoyed numerous and generous spendings on personal pleasures such as cars, art collector pieces, and expensive wine collections. He also invested heavily in real estate throughout Latin America and Europe. However, much of Escobar's money was lost due to legal battles with the government of his own extreme spending habits. By all accounts, Escobar's billions were an incredible inheritance that made him one of history's wealthiest people. But it didn't make him immune from authorities seeking revenge. Although Escobar was ultimately assassinated by Colombia's national police in 1994, his legacy remains highly relevant today. In particular, Escobar's involvement in Belize has been largely overlooked due to his untimely death and the relative lack of documentation on his dealings in the country. However, new evidence suggests that Escobar may have played a pivotal role in behalf of Belizean elites during its violent revolution in 1981 and 1982. Escobar allegedly provided financial support to successive regimes as a consolidated power following Belize's independence from Britain in 1981. This assistance likely helped to stabilize the political situation and maintain stability during a tumultuous time period that witnessed major protests and general unrest across the nation. Furthermore, it appears that Escobar may have even directly participated in acts of violence against opposition activists during this time frame. These revelations present a unique perspective on Escobar's character and underscore just how expansive his reach was across multiple continents over 2 decades. It's insane. The legacy of Pablo Escobar, the notorious Colombian drug lord and trafficker who was shot dead in 1994, continues to fascinate people around the world. To many Colombians and other Latin Americans, he's an almost mythical figure, a criminal genius whose wealth and power transformed Colombia into one of the most prosperous nations in South America for a time. To others, he's seen as nothing more than a murderous thug and symbolizes the worst of Colombia's bloody conflict. The long-term effects of Escobar's reign are still being felt today, with organized crime tours continuing to infiltrate politics and public life throughout much of South America. His story has been documented in books such as Killing Pablo by Mark Bowden, in which he recounts his rise to infamy, whilst movie adaptations such as Netflix's series Narcos glamorize his violent exploits despite their sheer atrocity. Whether you see him as a hero or a villain, there is no doubt that his influence extended far beyond death, giving rise to generations born after him who inspire for success at any cost. It's no secret that drug kingpin Pablo Escobar was one of the richest and most infamous men in history. He spent his billions on a wide range of extravagant items, from luxury cars to a private army. However, one question that has long been remained unanswered is how Escobar managed to amass such wealth in the first place. In this video, we explored some possible methods through which Escobar may have acquired so much money and power. Take a look and decide for yourself if it's plausible or not.